Hello, everybody. I'm gonna just start it out early. Not even gonna fool around with the countdown today. Why? Well, I've had a hell of a couple of days. And you're probably thinking, Gringo, you're never on Saturday nights. What are you doing? Well, it's because I effed up Friday. And I hope people can hear me this time. I really do. If you can't hear me, please let me know in the comment section below. Because that's why I effed up Friday. So yesterday I was streaming. Some of you may have been watching me going, Gringo, you're an idiot. Which, that's fair. You can call me an idiot. Because my nice, expensive blue microphone is a piece of junk. So much so that when I looked up what was wrong with my blue microphone, the results were immediate. It's like everybody has this issue. Oh, great. To fix it, you need a soldering iron, among other things. I didn't pay that much money to have a soldering iron. Basically, like any microphone that's wired in, the USB port here, and it's not the wire, but if I move the wrong way, this wire will go loose, and then no sound, zero sound, nothing. Which is what happened yesterday. I literally talked for 50 minutes, and all you saw was me moving, and yeah, that was it. And some people comment, no sound. I didn't see the comments. I'm sorry. By the way, you can hear all sorts of noises. Saturday night. It's December. It's Christmas in Mexico. There's going to be effing fireworks everywhere. There's going to be people on the street, the motorcycles, road races. It just gets effing loud. Friggin' deal with it when we move to our new house where it's in the middle of nowhere. You won't have those problems. You won't be listening to that stuff. But the person who's going to love it the most, Caesar, because he hates fireworks. Anyways, so to fix this thing, you actually have to take the whole microphone apart. There's actually videos in this. You have to remove all the buttons. You have to remove it from its stand. You actually have to remove the housing and pull out essentially the motherboard. And you have to solder because the part that connects to the wire is loose. It's a design flaw, a defect. No recall, no nothing on it that I've seen. And I'll go looking at it. I got some backup mics. I got these DJI mics behind me. You know, the ones you clip on. They're pretty good. I've used them before. I used them in the airport last time when I stuck in an airport overnight, so I decided to record some videos overnight. I had my DJI mics with me, so I was like just sitting in the airport recording. I didn't know you're not allowed to broadcast live from an airport. Inside an airport. Some of the security cameras, you can't do that. I don't know if that's just them being dicks or that's a real rule, but you're not allowed to go YouTube live from an airport or when you're inside the terminal. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the Arab scarf I keep wearing. I don't know. I'm Arab. What do you want? I get pulled out of line all the time just on my name. I know I don't look it. My name gets flagged in the computer. It's like, Arab, search them. I got TSA agents feeling me up like I was a high school girl, really, at a friggin' all-boys Catholic school. Anyways. So, I've had a hell of a couple days. We'll talk about the surviving Christmas, building a house, getting it all furnished and all that, because that's real fun. I went through a lot of that yesterday. And then my wife today, IKEA. But if you've never been to IKEA, IKEA is an experience. You experience it once and you need to say, wow, I really love this. Or you experience it once and you dread ever being asked to go back again. My family loves IKEA. They all love it. I don't know why. They love it. They love to eat there in the cafeteria, the Swedish. Anyways, we're going to get to Creature Commandos because that's the big topic of the day. And yeah, I watched it. I watched both episodes when it premiered December 5th, and I went to talk to you guys about it yesterday. I did talk to you guys about it yesterday. You just couldn't hear me. So I was there, just not really successfully. Anyways, you all know I am a big, huge DC Comics fan. That I root for DC to succeed. That I want DC to succeed. That I want DC to have good stuff. I want DC to be successful in the box office, on television. I want it. 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 Because next to Star Wars, DC is what keeps me alive in a pulp culture sense. And you see, I told you you're going to hear fireworks. By the way, speaking of fireworks, the volcano I live next to, or near, called El Popo, has been smoking all day. He does that all the time. Anyways, so you know I always want DC Comics to succeed. Unfortunately, I think if this is a sign of things to come, if Creature Commandos is the sign of the direction of which James Gunn and Berlanti, if he's involved in any of it, who did the CW DC universe, or anybody else over there who's in charge of making decisions, if that's the direction that we're going to go in, I don't have a good feeling about Superman coming out. I don't have a good feeling about anything else that they've announced or anything else that they want to work on. I just don't. Why? You probably ask Gringo, though. Why? The cartoon looked great. Yes, the animation looked absolutely wonderful. It's an adult cartoon. It's bloody. It's gory. It's highly sexualized. I mean, we're going to talk spoilers here. I don't care. Spoiler warning. So if you don't want to hear it, turn it off. And that big heavy sighing you hear is my dog. He's just all pissy. I fed him 12 chicken McNuggets and now he's all like, bleh. Anyways, I know. Can't come home with chicken McNuggets and not give some to the dog. Anyways, so yeah, if you didn't have the sound on and you watched Creature Commandos all the way through, it looks wonderful. Awesome. But I can hang curtains in the Amityville Horror House. It looks great. It's still friggin' haunted. It's still got blood pouring out the walls. I need my coffee. So, I had high hopes. So we start out. Look, I wish we could all agree that we're past November. We're past November 5th is over a month ago. I get it. Some of you still don't like who won. I get it. Get over it. All right. Half of the people that won during my lifetime, I didn't like, but I got over it. You know why? Because I just do. You just do. You get over it. World ain't going to end. Okay? Jesus Christ. So, yes. And I know James Gunn has now become full-blown Hollywood advocate for all the new messaging and the modern day messaging that we think is going to go away. You listen to all the YouTube channels, it's all going to go away. Nope, it really isn't, because Creature Commandos just came out and it didn't go away. I was actually quite disappointed. And I could care which way the political message is going. I just don't want it there anymore. I don't want the cultural message there anymore. I don't want it. A lot of us don't want it. Many of us don't want it. We're just sick of it. We're sick of demonizing one side. And it's just, no, we just want to be entertained, man. We just want to sit down and watch something that goes, oh, wow, that was fun. That made me laugh, or that gave me a thrill. That was exciting. That was action-packed. Oh, man, we just don't want to go through the whole, oh, they're bad because of this cultural difference that they have with these people over here. Oh, fuck me. Jesus, let it go. Just let it go, because it's just not the way we want it to. So anyways, the basic premise of Creature Commandos is, oh yeah, by the way, if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, any three of them, and then you've seen any of the Suicide Squad, that's what Creature Commandos are. It's the same formula. It's Guardians of the Galaxy that was transposed into Suicide Squad by James Gunn, which was transposed into this. It's basically the Suicide Squad except for no humans, and they explained that in the beginning, where after the last Suicide Squad movie with this, with Starro, Project Starfish, that Congress passed a law they can't use humans so they can't use humans anymore in the Suicide Squad. So Amanda Waller gets around that by using creatures and monsters that aren't quite human, that are undead, whatever. Still have General Flagg, Rick Flagg's father, who died at the, he died. Peacemaker killed him in the last Suicide Squad movie. So that's what it is. It's a collection of, are they heroes? Are they villains? They're villains, but they want to be heroes. They're anti-heroes. It is. Okay. There's some good characters in there. There's some good characters. I mean, the whole story is totally, like, if you take out the bullshit, the James Gunn political, social, feminist bullshit, anti-Trump bullshit, anti-MAGA bullshit, if you take that out, then you could have a really good narrative. And it's those parts you really enjoy watching. But when they insert the bullshit, it's just like, okay. I was like, man, I just want DC to win, man. And this is not the way that it's going to win. All the Rotten Tomatoes, all the regular critics, all the paid critics are going to say, yes, it's a wonderful thing, because that's what they're paid to do. right? Or the shills, or whatever you call them. I don't know. I don't know what a shill is. Like, someone once called me a shill because I like something, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. As a former English teacher, with the undergraduate concentration in Shakespeare, I know what a shill is in terms of like the Jewish slang. I don't know if that would call me. I'm not Jewish though. Thanks for trying, I guess. I don't know. If you don't know what I mean, read The Merchant of Venice. So whatever those people are that always everything's awesome. The everything awesome gang. Not a negative word to say about nothing. Because they get certain access. We've all seen that. I don't care about that. That's how they want to make their living. Awesome. God bless you. You only come around once, baby. You only come around once. If that's the way you want to make your living and that makes you happy, I'm all for it. All for it. I don't want to tell anybody how to live their life or do their job. Boom. You want to do that? That's awesome. Maybe one day I'll turn into one of those people who are like, I will get... No, I would never actually. I couldn't. I'm too grumpy. Anyways, so it starts out with that. So, it's the Creature Commandos instead of the Suicide Squad. We get introduced to the Bride, which is basically the Bride of Frankenstein, right? We get introduced to Dr. Phosphorus. We get introduced to the Weasel again. Love the Weasel. The Weasel and then G.I. Robot. Those two characters, they're the best characters in the whole thing. Best characters in the whole thing, except for what they use G.I. Robot for the message, But they're just funny the way they use them, make you laugh. Those parts make you laugh. You get some chuckles. Like, there were parts that I laughed at. I don't want to say this is all shit. Like, there were parts, like I said, when you remove the bullshit, there are parts that I laugh at. Like when they're playing fetch with the Weasel. I thought that was funny. Or they show the Weasel sleeping on the floor like a dog, just like building his character. It's great. Well, where they build G.I. Robot's character and they kind of, let him talk and let him explain or, what he is and who he is or where he's from. When they have some really cool action sequences, cool fight scenes, right? And great animation. I'm not gonna lie, the animation is awesome. It's one of my favorite animation styles I've ever seen. And if you ask me to compare this to X-Men 97, X-Men 97 blows it away in every category. Because X-Men 97 tells such a great story. It tells such a great story. And that hurts me because I never want Marvel to beat DC. It's not that I hate Marvel, it's just I love DC. So I pick a side. And Marvel wiped the floor with them with the animated universe. If it's a contest between these two shows. So then we're introduced to the big bad, which is Cersei. Again, love Cersei. I love the whole magic component within DC in the comics. Now, they're taking a lot of this from the New 52, which a lot of people hate the New 52. It wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst, right? So you get introduced to Cersei. Now, Cersei is, of course, Wonder Woman's probably biggest foe, or considered one of her biggest enemies. And Cersei wants to take over Themyscira. Or plans to. Which is the island where all the Amazons live. It's all female. It's an all-female island. So Cersei creates the brothers or brotherhood of Themyscira. And I'm like, okay. I can see where we're going here. And then you get introduced to her army. Which is basically, if you're a very progressive liberal that is trying to be sarcastic and bitter, this is how you would describe white males. Mostly, there's not just white males in this. I saw like 2 black people. That was interesting. They included 2, but mostly it's 99% white males that seem southern, retarded, beer drinking, swilling, idiots, gun toting, and they talk about anti-woke and whatnot. So basically, they're making fun of the Republicans and the push to remove DEI. Conservatives have removed the push DEI, more traditional values. And that's how you start out. So he's preempting the commentaries. Hopefully that someone like me won't come on and be like, see, he's just like the people I drew. Thanks. It's an old trick, James. It's an old trick. I don't care. When you're in your position in life like I am, you just don't care no more. You don't give a fuck. Actually, I just read a book called The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I don't give a fuck. So, you're introduced to basically, that's her army. Great. Those are the bad guys, the generic bad guys that need to be killed off in the show. And I'm like, man, can you not just get over, really? You could have made it if it's DC, you could have had refugees from the League of Assassins, League of Shadows, whichever one you want to call them. Racial. You could have had the real. You could have had a story where Cersei took the men from Hephaestus who work the forge, who are the true sons born of the Amazonian women, and how they rebelled, and now they're with her. Like, you could have had such an emotional, impactful story if you did it right, but you wanted the cheap shot at the political shit. Okay. You have this revenge fantasy. And when I say revenge, I mean revenge because we're going to get into it. So G.I. Robot is a character. His only reason for existing is he was created during World War II to kill Nazis. That's all he asks about. That's all he wants to talk about is, can he kill Nazis? Are those people Nazis? Can I kill them? And of course, there's a line in an upcoming episode where Flag tells G.I. Robot, points to the MAGA Republicans, Cersei's Republican Guard, or whatever you want to call them, and says, you can kill those are Nazis. And he starts just shooting away at them and killing them. And I'm just like, oh, so we're not trying to entertain. We're trying to just tell people we're pissed off and we'd like to kill we would like to kill 60% of the country. So James Gunn's basic blood fantasy is kill 60% of the country because he doesn't like how they voted. That's how we're going to start out DC Studios' new era. And I'm like, are you sure you want to start out that way? Because it makes me go, oh, okay. We're not past that. We're still going to include that stuff, huh? It's tiresome. It's tiresome. Tiresome. So, and it ruins, it really, I mean, you could have made it any type of army out there. With all the resources that you have within the world of DC, you're now in charge of DC. That's where you went. So it's intentionally made that way. It's not like, oh, no, he's intentional. Everything is intentional. Everything. And again, if it was a group of ultra progressive AOC liberals, I would have the same problem. I wouldn't want them called Nazis either because of how I think they act or how they. No, I just want to be done with it. I want to be like, can we just entertain without insulting each other? Can we not entertain without trying to divide? Can we not entertain without putting in a message where we call half the people in this country some sort of insult? Can we not do that anymore? Are we past that? Is DC now not? Because if that's the case, I think Marvel is already making moves to kind of get past all that crap. And DC is just not good at reading the writing on the wall. DC is not good at looking around the corner. That's the thing we always had in corporate America. We always had that lesson. Like, can you see around the corner? Can you see around the corner? When it came to planning, anticipating trends and sales and things like, can you see around the corner? Warner Brothers is not able to see around the corner at this point. With this type of effort that's being given, with this type of narrative that's being given. So they're not allowed to see around the corner. They're not able to. And I have a feeling that it's going to be bleeding into Superman. It's going to be bleeding into the whole slate of works that they have for this whole new era. And I don't think it's going to be any. I'm going to bet that the last era is going to be more successful than this upcoming era. I'm going to bet that the Zack Snyder universe is more successful financially than the James Gunn universe just based off of this. I think Warner Brothers rolled the dice, hoped, they crapped out. I think they need to see that they crapped out, and I think they need to make a change real quick. That's how I see it after watching that opening. Going, okay. But then I watched the rest of it, and I'm like, okay, well, again, you remove the war on half the country, you remove the political ideology, remove the cultural antagonism out of it, and you could have a really good story. But then you get to the there's no other way to you get to the feminist stuff. You get to the feminist bullshit. All right, the Bride of Frankenstein, or the Bride as we call her, awesome character. I think she's drawn great. I think she acts great. I think the voice acting in all of it is great. The lines suck sometimes, but the voice acting is great. Kudos to all that. I mean, like I said, it looks good, sounds good, just isn't good because it just can't get away from itself. So the Bride is who they really focus on throughout most of the first two episodes. And so they go through the whole story. Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein creates Frankenstein's monster. He's already there. He doesn't really understand boundaries when it comes to women, I guess. You get no real backstory for him. Maybe you'll get one later, but you get no real backstory. He's just sort of like the brutish. Again, he's the cartoonish version of, like, again, how they were, these are what we think Republicans are like, men, blah, 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 idiots. Well, the patriarchy, that's what Frankenstein, he's the male aggressor, doesn't know boundaries, think my, So Frankenstein, well, I need a bride. So he creates the bride, Frankenstein was just a bride, and the doctor spends time with her, teaches how to, basically quality time with her, and they develop a relationship. And all the meanwhile, the monster, Frankenstein's monster, let's call him Frank, keeps trying to give her flowers, get close to her, let her, touch her, whatnot. Why won't you let me touch me? Because she's all afraid, she's confused, right? Get that, right? And they play it over and over and over and over again, right? Like, we get the message. And then the doctor and the newly regenerated corpse of the bride end up falling in love, and you get the sex scene between the two of them, full-blown sex scene. I was like, okay. Hey, man, if that's what you're into, I don't advocate necrophilia, but all right. Granted, she's not totally dead, but not really sure how that works. I personally prefer warm over cold, but just me. Just me. So the monster sees these two copulating, so he's being cucked, and he kills the doctor. And he and the bride fight. She gets away, and they do a montage of him chasing after her. He's kind of rapey. He's got that vibe about him, like he's not looking for consent. I mean, but they just do it. They do it year by 1880, 1881, 1882. They literally do a year by year progression through the decades, and it takes up like a few minutes. And I'm like, all right, we get the idea. He doesn't know boundaries. We get it. You want to hammer home men bad, men rapey. Got it. All right, I get it. But again, you could have just said it like in one. You could have spent 30 seconds on it. We get the same message, but you keep hammering it over and over. All right, let it go. But on the flip side of that, you've got the beautiful queen of the Polish-like country that they're in, that the whole Creature Commandos squad is in. And she doesn't understand boundaries with General Flagg. But that's not a problem because she keeps going after him, strips down naked, touches him when he doesn't want to be touched inappropriately, and then so basically corners him in a bathroom, and he just gives up and goes, all right, might as well. But that's okay. Again, guy, too rapey, girl, just rapey enough. I get it. Again, the double standard. I'm like, look, I could care less. Just be even, be equal. Scold them both for the same behavior, or celebrate them both for the same behavior. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking anybody out there to pick a side other than, let's just say, hey, if we're gonna celebrate it one way, let's celebrate it all the way. If we're gonna scold it one way, let's scold it all the way. So, but then we get the GI robot, and again, I love his character, but again, calling Cersei's army the Nazis that they can kill, which is basically represented the 77 million people who probably voted for Donald Trump. Again, if you think, people are like, oh, it's just a cartoon. I realize it's just a cartoon, but this is the entrance into the new DC studios. This is the entrance. Is this a sign of things to come? Is this the way we're going to go? Is this the philosophy we're going to have? I wish I knew. I wish I had a very awesome answer for that, but I don't, because this is all we have to go on. I don't know where episode, and I'll continue to watch, because I'm hoping, I want it to be better. I want them to move away from the cultural clash. I want them to move away from the political messaging. I just want to say, hey, let's have some comic book fun. Because comic book fun is awesome. So I was really disappointed to see all that stuff added into it. And I was like, because you have really good voice acting. You have really good animation. And you have such a rich storyline to be able to take from and put in stuff. Again, take out the political BS and put in something more comic booky that really elevates it. Like I said, I thought that would, for me, again, I'll go back to my suggestion. There are boys, men from the Amazonian island. I made a video about this. It's basically about how do Amazons reproduce. Well, Amazons, like Wonder Woman, her people, what they do, and I did a video, there's a comic book, I forgot which number it is, but it's in my playlist called Welcome to Comicverse. You just search how do Amazonians reproduce on my playlist. Because it's literally what the comic book is about. I think it's 3 times a century, if I'm remembering correctly, 3 times a century. Amazonian women, they strip down naked and they get into rowboats and they row out to sea. And they find shipping, vessels with men, whether fishing vessels, shipping vessels, whatever, merchant marine, whatever. They climb on board, and here's the sexiest women, most fit, buff, gorgeous looking women in the world. Imagine it. Like, you've seen the Wonder Woman movies. Imagine all those women stripped down naked, just kind of climbing on board your boat, going, we're here to copulate. We're here to just have straight up, casual intercourse. The men are all like, yeah, because they're all at sea, and they're like, yeah. And so the Amazonians take advantage of the men, and the Amazonians are really good at doing that, and the men get really tired, or what they call draining their life force, according to the comic, and then they throw the men overboard to their death. Yep, that's what they do. And then they go back to the island. And the ones who are pregnant wait the 9 months. And if they're born with a girl, if a girl is born, it's celebrated. Yes, we have a new Amazonian child, a girl, to further the Amazonian bloodline and be on Themyscira. And if it's a boy, what they normally would do would take the baby, rip it out of its mother's arms within the first minute of being born, and throw it into the ocean along the cliffside to its death. Well, the demigod Hephaestus, who is known as the god of the forge, who makes all the weapons for the Amazonians, was also a baby that was thrown away by his mother, but he survived. And so he feels bad for these male children. He says, I don't want to see them die. So he trades. So every time this happens, he brings a bunch of brand new weapons that he's made, special weapons and all that, gives them to the Amazonian women in exchange for the male children, the male babies. And he raises them inside Mount Etna, underneath where the forge is. And they make the weapons, and they build, and they love it because they all love it. People are like, well, isn't that being a slave? No, they're not. They don't consider themselves slaves. They consider themselves artists with the way in which they make weapons and the type of weapons that they make and the care and whatnot. Because they feel part of a family and whatnot. Wouldn't it be awesome if we took, all of a sudden, Hephaestus lost control of that group, and they all kind of realized what was going on and where they came from, and those were the Brotherhood of Themyscira, instead of some neo-Nazi, quasi-Republican, Alabama, Southern Mississippi, white conservative group that James Gunn wants to murder in his sleep because that's his revenge fantasy. Wouldn't that have been awesome and creative? But no, we wanted to put in, he wanted to put in his message because he's pissed off because he doesn't like people who don't think like him, and that's what's wrong with Hollywood. Good luck, Warner Brothers. I want you to succeed. Again, I love you. I love DC, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. I just love them all. Been a fan of them all. Seen every movie. Not liked every movie, seen it all. Seen every TV series. Yeah, I actually watched Batwoman just to see if it would get better. It didn't, but I actually watched it. But again, if that's the sign of things to come, it's not a good start. It's just not a good start. It's a weak start to begin with a cartoon and animated series instead of something big and grand, announcing your presence, like Iron Man announced. That was a big announcement. Here's Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, that was a big movie. It was a big deal. I mean, was it supposed to be a small budget independent, but it became this big announcement, and then they kept coming and kept coming and kept coming, and bigger and bigger and bigger, and and they built this thing. I just don't think Warner Brothers has. I don't think they have the. I don't want to say they don't have the skill because they should, right? They should. Maybe they just don't have the will. I don't know. Maybe they don't have the will to do it. Maybe they don't have the will to do it. That could be it. I hate it when my coffee gets cold. It's so cold here. A hot cup of coffee turns cold within like 20 minutes. But, let me do this. Be more fun for you. Again, it's just me here. So yeah, you get these. reviews. Creature Commandos review. James Gunn's heartwarming R-rated tale about super monsters proves to be that the DCU is in good hands. I argue that point. I think I just argued that point. Doesn't argue. I don't think it's in good hands. I don't. So, but, again, most of the mainstream reviews, this is what they are. Pardon the ads and all that stuff. I didn't bother to X all that crap out. You can just ignore it. But besides, they're all in Spanish because I didn't put my VPN on. So it was hard to find an article in English. Mi hablo español, muy poquito español. But yeah, that's what happens when you're in Mexico or anywhere else south of Mexico, like sometimes I am. Everything comes, if you don't use a VPN, everything's in Spanish. It's amazing some of the things you get to see. So apparently weather girls are a big deal down here. I don't know. I'm not saying Google it, but, be safe. Anyways, yeah. Oh, here we go. Here are the pros. Here's what Games Radar verdict is. The pros: complex, layered anti-heroes with gut-wrenching backstories that make them impossible not to root for. You only know one. You know the Bride. You don't know really anybody else. You know G.I. Robot a little bit. Not much. You're going to know him next time. Refreshingly crude humor, violence, and some not safe for work elements we've not seen before in a DC adaptation. Well, yeah, we had not seen a DC adaptation, but we've seen that type of content before everything became so triggering to everybody that you had to sanitize everything. God, I miss the 80s. Nothing was sanitized. Nothing. I mean, granted, things were a little bit boring sometimes, but nothing was sanitized. You get the occasional Revenge of the Nerds. You get the occasional Porkies. You get the 90s. Nothing was really sanitized. It was good stuff. The animation style harkens back to Batman the Animated Series. It does. It's good. It's really, really good. I have to say, it's really, really good. I can't knock the animation style. Is it just like the animated series? It takes some stuff from it, but it's got its own thing. Cons: short season with an abrupt ending. That's fine. John Economos and John Economos and Rick Flag Sr. are wildly underused. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, that's what we got for Creature Commandos. Again, you can watch it. Maybe you get something out of it that I didn't. I'll continue to watch it, and hopefully it gets better. Now to something that's got people blowing up, and I just don't think it should. I mean, it should and it shouldn't. This dude, I don't know who this dude is. I've never heard of this dude. Papa. I'm going to butcher your name, buddy. And anybody out there, I apologize. It's just I don't know how to pronounce it. I wish I did. Payapa Ezadu. I to play Severus Snape in HBO's Harry Potter TV show. Oh, dear God. Exclusive. Look, I'm sure he's a great actor, but that's not Severus Snape. It's not. If you've read the books, you know Severus Snape is a really, really sickly white man, hooked nose, greasy hair covering his face. He is an emo. He's an emo with like some sort of disease that's making him waste away. That's what Severus Snape is. That's not Severus Snape. That guy looks too. I mean, maybe they could put makeup and stuff on and make him look more evil. Never mind the color of his skin. Let's not even talk about that right now because, again, it's obvious that that's not Severus Snape. Even if they say, okay, we're going to go with this dude, try to make him look evil. The guy looks too nice to be Severus Snape. He looks like, I don't know, he looks like he belongs in a beer commercial. You know? But it's weird because when this show was announced and everybody's like, we're going to be as faithful to the books as humanly possible. Okay. I don't know. Then no, you're not. So either you are or you're not. If you're going to be faithful to the books, that even the original movies, which I have problems with, the whole strand of Harry Potter movies, like I liked the first and second. Shoot me if you don't agree with me. I know most people don't agree, but the Chamber of Secrets, I really, really enjoyed the Chamber of Secrets. They felt more like the books than anything else. So I wasn't a big fan of the third one, The Prisoner of Azkaban. And then the other ones, as they progressively came, I know they made a lot of money. They were entertaining, but they weren't faithful because the books are huge. I mean, you can't fit that much, but they try to be as somewhat faithful. Look, I'm an American, I get it, but this is a British thing, right? This is like Britain. I wonder how they feel about it. I don't know. It would be interesting to see if they do race swap all the characters or some of the characters. This is just a rumor, but it's a Hollywood Reporter. And usually Hollywood Reporter rumors they're like test balloons, they call them. In politics, working in politics, we call that test balloons, right? You got an idea, you're not sure how it's going to be received. You kind of float it out to like a source or two. So they'd be like, they can report it as a rumor. And then see what the backlash is or the acceptance is of that idea. And that's so sometimes when you read like a rumor about politics, a rumor about, it could be this, it could be that, that's on purpose. It's not just somebody trying to make it's actually information given. It's on purpose. Look, if this is where they want to go, okay. Then don't tell me you're going to be as book accurate as possible. Just, again, tell me the truth, and that's fine. This could be the biggest TV series in the history of TV. My kids are in their 20s. They read the books. Kids, the generation before that, who were the first generation of Harry Potter, they were in their 30s. They're teaching their kids about Harry Potter. So, this is like, there's a huge audience out there that would just gobble this up. This could be, again, and we're talking about HBO, we're talking about Warner Brothers again, right? We talk about Creature Commandos and just sort of like not reading the room, not being able to see around that corner, and letting the bullshit get in. Don't let the bullshit get in. There's plenty of African-American characters that I think you can probably pluck in and out of Harry Potter. But if this is the guy you want to go with, hopefully he does a good job. I think you're going to get a lot of backlash. I think you're going to get a lot of backlash. Now, if it's just a rumor, then everybody's overreacting and whatnot. But they don't really. As you can see, this is a really big article with him front and center. And it's not a denial. They don't put out a denial when asked. Let's see here. This series is described as a faithful adaptation of the beloved Harry Potter book series by author and executive producer J.K. Rowling, who is supposed to have final say or just be heavily involved in anything. The series will feature a new cast to lead a new generation of fandom, full of the fantastic detail and much-loved characters Harry Potter fans have loved for over 25 years. Each season will bring Harry Potter and these incredible adventures to new audiences around the world, while the original classic and cherished films will remain at the core of the franchise and available to watch globally. Okay. Yeah. They had it. I thought they had. Let's see. All right. Here we go. Oh, that's me not being able to work nothing. That's what happens when you get old. Here we go. I want to try that again. Let's see. In a statement regarding Azadu's casting, HBO said, "We appreciate that such a high-profile series will draw a lot of rumor and speculation. As we make our way through pre-production, we will only confirm details as we finalize deals." That's not a denial, so it's probably, yes, that's probably your new Severance Snape. We'll see. Again, we'll see. I guess they got Dumbledore and it's not in this article. But last I heard, Mark Rylance is going to be Albus Dumbledore. There was speculation that Mark Strong might be Dumbledore. I love that Cillian Murphy is going to be Lord Voldemort. I think that's finalized. That was announced. So Cillian Murphy playing that role. And what's so cool about that is that Cillian Murphy called Ralph Fiennes, the original Lord Voldemort from the film. And he said, "Man, are you cool with me taking over this role?" And again, that's just something certain Hollywood actors will do sometimes. Again, I use the example of Ben Affleck. If you don't like Ben Affleck, I get it. I'm just using him as an example. When he took over the role of Jack Ryan for Sum of All Fears in the Tom Clancy novels adaptations, he called Alec Baldwin and he called Harrison Ford and asked their blessing to be able to take over a role that they made famous and became famous for. Alec Baldwin became famous. That was his first big role. And they gave him his blessing. I thought it was really cool. The Sum of All Fears, I think, is a really good Tom Clancy adaptation. If you haven't seen it, see it. I think it's really good. A little out there, but really good. So yeah, Harry Potter news. Harry Potter news. So let me know in the comment section if you're all right with that type of Harry Potter news. Here we go again, transitioning. Hopefully my microphone is still holding. I got it bent to the side. Bent to the side. I forgot how much I paid for this damn thing. It's supposed to be a good microphone. Anyways, so yeah, that's entertainment news. And I have survived a little bit of Christmas. For those of you that know, we're building a house here to have a more permanent residence. And I'll have a studio space. Again, this is just a converted bedroom. Literally, if I took the camera and I went that way with it, you would see the bed that I moved up against the wall with all my stuff all over it. All my knickknacks behind me. But I'll be able to create more of a studio. And so, but yeah, the bum part about building a house from scratch, when you sell everything you own to come to a different country, and literally that's what we did. We sold everything. It's amazing when you do go to sell everything and you have to start separating. You go through, like, there was one weekend where my wife was gone. I forgot who she was visiting. I forget who she was with. She was gone for like the whole weekend. And my son was working most of the weekend, so I was home all alone. This is back in Texas. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to get out. If we're going to sell everything, I'm going to open up every drawer in the kitchen and get everything organized. Over 20 years of marriage, we managed to collect like 9 spatulas. I don't know why we needed 9 spatulas. Like 4 or 5 ladles. You can start, where does all this come from? But then you sell everything, right? You think of it. You sell everything in your house. Everything except for like 6 or 7 luggages full of clothes that you bring with you and your dog. That's it. Yeah, he's still there sleeping. He's all knocked out from the McDonald's. When you go to build a house, you have to realize, I got to buy all this stuff all over again. You're like, you don't really, I need a ladle. Like, yeah. And then you find you should just walk up to the ladle, pick the ladle and leave. But then you start seeing different ladles. You're like, what kind of ladle do I want? Right. And as I'm going through this, and we've been to IKEA. Oh, IKEA. My wife loves IKEA. And so when we're in IKEA or we're shopping, we're trying to figure out what set of dishes do we want? Like what, and it's like my mind immediately goes back to Fight Club. Immediately back to Ed Norton. What kind of dish set defines me as a person? It's like, why do I care about these things? I don't want to care. And I force myself not to care. I'm like, all right, get whatever you want. But then I'm like, no, don't get the ones that look weird. Get something normal. I don't know. So yeah, we have to buy all that stuff all over again. And then you think okay, so my wife brings me this box of silverware. And I'm like, oh, great, box of silverware. It's good price. It's Christmas discounts and all that. So I'm like, get it. And she's like, well, there's only 4 sets in here. 4 sets of what? Just 4 sets for 4 people. I'm like, well, it's just you and I, so that's 2 extra sets. She's like, no, what if we have guests? How often do we have guests? Not often, but we sometimes have. All right. So I get 2 boxes. Well, that's only 8. What if it turns into a party? Well, how often does it turn into a party at our house? She says, not often, but it could happen. All right, get another box. So now we got 12 place settings of silverware. When I was a bachelor, I would have 1 fork, 1 knife, 1 spoon. I would wash it. I'd have 1 plate. I'd wash it. I'd eat. I'd wash. I'd dry. Boom. Done. I'd have 1 coffee mug. Just continue. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know why it gets so confusing. I don't know. But so yeah, Fight Club enters my mind, and then that speech Tyler gives Tyler Durden, Brad Pitt's character. You're not your latte. You're not your car. You're not the car you drive. You're not your bowel cancer. You're not your effing khakis. And I'm like, yeah, he's right. I'm not. Oh. So, that was my son trying to call me. So, I have to just mute him. So yeah, it's amazing. Just you go through all, and IKEA is like that winding road of just crap. Like Then you get to the cafeteria, and people love eating there. They love eating there. And it's like, oh, wait. All this stuff is just so full with sodium. Like the last time I ate there, I had the Swedish meatballs. Like, yeah, I'll try those. IKEA is from Sweden. I'll go to, get the little cart. Got my cart with my food, my crappy Swedish dessert. Sweden, not known for its cuisine, okay? So, but the stuff is so filled with salt. So filled with salt. It's crazy. And I was like, just down in Coke. So actually apple juice. Humex. At least they had Mexican apple juice. Just down in apple juice just to get the salt out of my mouth. And you finally get to the end, and it's just like, it's an ordeal. IKEA is an ordeal. And then they got like the cutaways where you could get, it's like, only employees are allowed through that door, which cuts way across the store and cuts your time. It's like you found the escape hatch that you're not supposed to use. And it's like, no, I got to go. Nope. But my whole family, they like to follow the arrows through everything. And it's 5 hours of your life. 5 hours of your life. You're never going to get it back. But you got to buy that ladle. We bought that ladle. So yeah, we're furnishing everything. And then shopping in a Mexican mall. Mexican malls are beautiful. Gorgeous. They put American malls to shame. I've never been to the Mall America. And I guess that might be the Grove in LA. But I've been plenty of malls. I've worked in and been to plenty of malls in New England and the upper Midwest and Texas and things like that. And I'm like, they're not good compared to a Mexican mall in like Mexico City or Puebla or Querétaro or something like that. These are decked out malls. Awesome. So we go to this place called Liverpool. It's one of my favorite places to go shop when I have to shop for something. I like Sanborns and Liverpool. Those are Liverpool, just like the place in England. And so we went there this week because they had massive discounts. Because again, when you build a house and you don't have anything, you have to buy stuff that you really need, like a stove. Like you need a stove or a refrigerator or a TV, right? You need a TV. Stuff like that. And they had huge discounts on it, so I ended up buying a refrigerator stove. But here's the thing. Here's the thing I've learned about shopping in Mexico that is different. So when you come from the United States, or when you're in the United States, if you go to a Target store in Boston and you use your credit card, everything's fine. If you go to a Target store in Chicago, you use your credit card, everything's fine. It's the institution of shopping. It's seamless. Even in banking. If you go to a Bank of America in Boston, a Bank of America in Fargo, North Dakota, Bank of America in Houston, Texas, wherever, right? They all have the same rules, the same services, pretty much, everything's done the same. They all communicate to each other. That doesn't happen in Mexico. Like, you can get really surprised. Give you an example. Love Sanborns. Love it, right? It's my favorite place. It's got nice restaurants in there, great coffee. Awesome. Love drinking that coffee. Great ice cream. Sometimes I just go in there, sit down I say, give me a bottom, give me coffee. And they bring me the pot and I just pour down coffee and 3 scoops of their chocolate ice cream and just, great. But if I go to the Sanborns that's 5 miles that way, they accept my American credit card. If I go to the Sanborns that's 5 miles behind me, they don't accept American credit cards. Why is that? Some Sanborns make the decision. I told you there'd be motorcycles and fireworks. There's one motorcycle. Some Sanborns or some stores in general, their management within the store decides not to accept those cards because there's fees attached to them that the store has to pay because they're converting the pesos to dollars or dollars to pesos when making a purchase. So you got to be careful. And you got to be wary of what that exchange rate is. And then you got to know what credit card you're using. So anyways, we went to this Liverpool and it was fine. Everything was fine. This one was fine using my credit card, because I don't have a Mexican credit. I only have American credit cards. Bought what we needed to buy that day. So we'll get that stuff delivered. That'll be fun. But the thing I learned is this. So follow me, because even when I was explained it on the phone by the actual agent from Visa, it was confusing, and I had to actually have them explain it to me again. So if we're going to follow along here, surviving shopping in Mexico. There's an exchange rate for the US dollar and every other currency out there. Right now, I didn't look it up today. It's probably between 19 and 20 pesos for every $1. Decent. It's decent, all right? At one point, it was up to 22, 23, which is really good. So that's your exchange rate. So when you go into a store, you're thinking you see something for $100, you're thinking to yourself, okay, if the exchange rate is 20 pesos for every US dollar, and this thing is, 1,000 pesos, you think, okay, you do the math, how many dollars you're spending. Aha, not true. Bear with me. Okay, let's say I was going to go buy a new Blue microphone because this one sucks. All right? I'm talking to you, Blue. All right? I go to the Radio Shack. They actually have Radio Shacks here. They're actually very well stocked. They're really nice to shop in, actually. Anyways, so I go to the Radio Shack. I go in and I say, I want that new Blue microphone. And it's for X amount of pesos. Get out my American credit card and I swipe it. Because Visa is everywhere you want to be, or MasterCard, everything priceless. Or whatever. Swipe my Visa. And say it's $300 US, right? I'm doing the math in my head right now as I'm buying it, $300 US. That's the exchange rate. I'm wrong. It's not. It's way more than that. Because Visa has its own exchange rate. That's right. You heard me. Visa, and every other card out there, I'm not picking on Visa, has their own exchange rate. And that day that I swiped the card to buy the microphone for $300 US, the exchange rate actually made the cost of this microphone $310. They actually devalued the peso or made it more, however they wanted, devalued the dollar against the peso. So say it's cost me 300 and again, what did I say? 310? Say it cost me $310. Boom. Aha. But I'm still wrong. Because even though it's today I went in to see the microphone, it was $300. I swiped it, it's $320. That's still not what Visa's doing. Visa's also waiting until the day that the purchase is no longer pending. When the purchase is no longer pending, that is the exchange rate they use. So, you could be getting a better exchange rate or a worse exchange rate. It's like gambling. And it's literally, so you think you're paying something, you're paying $300 for something on your credit card. You could be end up paying $320, $330, $340, $350. Based on how Visa is going to set their exchange rates within their financial service system. And this happens everywhere, even with ATMs. I've talked about this before. So you got to do real complicated math in your head. So when you buy something, you're not thinking of like, how much does this item cost? You actually have to create a range in your head. This item, and this is how you have to shop if you're an American down here. You actually have to shop, go, okay, this item's going to cost me between $300 and $350. Am I okay with the low and the high end of that? And then you have to make your decision. You never actually have an actual price. And you're probably, Gringo, how do you know this? Because the person from Visa, the agent I spoke to, took a half hour to explain this all to me because I asked him. And I actually literally asked him, so when I was charged for this item that I bought on a certain day because that's when it was no longer pending, what was the exchange rate that Visa was giving me? And you know what she said to me? We don't know. We don't have that information. They don't provide that to us. You heard me right. And I'm not just picking, MasterCard will tell you the same thing. They do not provide you, or you cannot ask the person on the phone for the actual exchange rate that you are being given for the item that you were purchasing on that credit card that has your name on it. Blown away, amazed. So really the lesson is if you can use cash, use cash. All right, but there's fees there because you go to the bank, you got to go to the ATM to get out the friggin' cash. They have their own exchange rates. I was going to do a video on this. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it safely without exposing my information on the ATM screen. Just trying to figure out how to do it without, putting myself at risk. Basically how it works is you take your ATM card, you put it into your ATM. You say, I want to take out 1,000 pesos. They say, okay. Here's the VAT, here's the VAT tax that you got to accept. You have to accept that. That's a federal tax down here. So, all right, you accept that. So it's like, okay, you're taking out 1,000, but it's costing you 1,035 pesos. All right, that's coming out. And then it says to you, would you like to use our conversion here at the bank? Decline or accept. Always decline that because they're actually giving you a worse conversion. It's like a fee they're charging. Some banks, they don't give you the option. They just charge you their own conversion. And you get screwed. You're losing money. We go to Santander. That's our ATM that we go to. That's the bank that we go to for ATMs because they give us the option of saying, no, decline. And I get the actual exchange rate that's in the world. So, but yeah, so Mexican shopping. If you come down here, you got to know what you're looking for, what you're buying. Unless you don't care. If you don't care, that's fine. I mean, if you got so much money to throw around, that's fine. Me personally, I like to know what I'm paying for and when I'm paying for it. But sometimes you got to take that leap of faith and go, okay, the high end of what I'm about to purchase is probably going to be around this. The low end is around this. And I'll know when the bill statement comes in. That's the way it is. I'm amazed. You saw me panic and I had to close my phone there, which I'm using as the camera for this. My son calling me. He's really watching me, but it's... God damn, what time is it now? All right, if he called at 9:30... What is it, like 4:30 in the morning over in Europe right now, and he's calling me? What the hell are you doing up, boy? You have church in the morning. You have church. You got to go to church. I don't care if he goes to church. I mean, I care if he goes to church. If he makes, he's an adult. He can do what he wants. But hopefully it wasn't an emergency. If it was, oh well. Oh well, nothing I can do about that. Yeah. My wife sending me pictures, even though I told her, hey, I'm going to be streaming. I can't answer text messages. Hold on. Send that to my wife. How you doing, wifey? She's sending me pictures. She's like, I think she's thinking about getting me a new chair. I'm holding off on it. This one's got a wheel missing. Parts are falling off. So basically, if you're ever watching me and I just fall over one day, it's not me. It's the chair. It's busted. I bought it at Sam's Club 3 years ago. It's a little leather office chair. It's done its job. What can I say? It is what it is. I'll make my son sit in it when he comes there. I'll get another chair for me. Yeah, she actually went to IKEA, came back, unloaded, and now she's out somewhere else. She's like, do you want to come? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm really good. I can't wait. I can't wait to be in my own place. I think it's going to be so much. Just something about, hey, this is your own place. This is what you do. This is where you are. It's quiet up there. Got a great view of the volcano, far away, further away. Because where I am right now, the thing's spitting ash. And in the morning, I mean, people have been sweeping ash up all over the place. But it does it all the time. But today it was really spitting ash. And really, it's not just ash. That's toxic air. That's poisonous. You can't go up and breathe. You know, you get anywhere near that stuff, you're just going to die. You just drop. Boom. And it's weird. There are videos always posted when El Popo starts popping off. Like unidentified flying objects start appearing near it. If you believe in that stuff, it's great. If you don't, I get it. Hey, I've seen videos of like triangular lights coming out of El Popo. And I'm like, this is stuff that's like on the evening news down here. And I'm just like, I don't know what it is. It's ball lightning. I don't know. It's in a triangle. I don't know. But whatever it is what it is. And I'm more concerned with the ash because that stuff, even if you have windows and doors closed and sealed, like the stuff is still going to get in. It's going to get in. Like I've got canned air. One day I took a thing of canned air to my PlayStation 5, the front of my PlayStation 5, and I just dashed it right in there. Man, out the back, it was like the thing was smoking. Just poof, ash everywhere. I was like, oh, that can't be good. So, you know, to be further away and have cleaner air a little bit further into the country, that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. And then kind of decorate and be able to hang up my paintings, have a place to paint. I haven't painted in over a year because I got no place to paint. And my oil, you can't just bust out the oil paints in an Airbnb. It's not your Airbnb. You get oil paint on something, it ain't coming off. It's not. And I don't want to risk it. Even going outside, I don't want to drop oil paint onto the ground. The driveway, it's not my driveway. Plus, I don't like painting outside. A lot of people are like, oh, I like to paint outside. No, I don't like painting outside. I like to be inside with the fumes, getting all jacked. So I really can't wait. But other than that, to everyone who's checked in, I'm going to call it. I'm going to go play some video games. I'm going to wait for my wife to come home from Liverpool, see what the hell she bought this time. I don't even know if she's listening. Honey, I love you. Don't worry. Go ahead. Swipe away. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight. I hope everybody have an awesome Saturday night. I hope wherever you are, you have an awesome Saturday night. And from south of the border, down here, I'm still your reluctant gringo. Salut, huevo. And in a couple of weeks, Feliz Navidad. All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. Boom.